Okay, in hexagon number 6, you're writing down the rules for multiplying and dividing integers in your own words. So go ahead and pause the video, and if you could please do that. Okay, hopefully you've got that done. You're going to need your multiplication charts. That'll be helpful for you. So you might want to have those handy. And we're going to start with the process of multiplying 3 or more integers. So you have a couple different options when you're multiplying integers. As long as you're multiplying, you can use what's known as commutative property of multiplication, which basically states you can multiply in different orders. So you can multiply in whatever way works easiest for you. So in this case, I'm going to start off with negative 4 times negative 7. That's going to be a positive 28 because the signs are the same. And I'm going to bring down the negative 2. I need you to show the steps. So every time you do an operation, you need to write down what you get. And from there, if you don't know what 28 times 2 is, you can go back to your multiplication chart and you can find where 2 is, find where 28 is, and we can go down. And if we go across, I'm going to try to keep it as straight as possible, we get 56. So, and since the signs are different, our answer would be negative, so we get a negative 56. Another way to do this is we could multiply negative 4 times negative 2 and get a positive 8. From there, we bring down the negative 7, and 8 times negative 7 is negative 56. So as long as you take care of all your multiplication, you can mix up the order to make it easier for yourself. Would you please pause the video and would you try these 6 problems, and then I will go through them. So pause and try them on your own, and then come back and finish them up, or go. So, all right. So what I might do here is I might multiply negative 3 times negative 3 first. So that's going to give me a positive 9. Sometimes I like to try to multiply the small numbers and make them a little bit bigger. You also could have done negative 3 times negative 11 and gotten negative 33. Here I've got 9 times negative 11, so the signs are different. That means my answer is going to be negative, and I get negative 99. Had I done the negative 3 times negative 11 and gotten 33, and then times that by negative 3, I would have gotten negative 99 as well. Here, I don't know, for number 2, I don't know if there's a good way to do this. So I'd probably do negative 8 times negative 7 first and just get my 56. And then I bring down the 3. Again, every time you do an operation, I want you to write the line out, and we're working down because that's how you'll need to do it later on. I then have 3 times 56, so 3 times 6 is 18. I carry the 1. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1 is 16, so I'll get a positive 168. On this one, I'd probably multiply the 2 and the negative 4 first. So 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. And then I have the negative, bring down the negative 10. Negative 8 times negative 10 is a positive 80. If I was doing this one, I'd probably do the 5 and the 4 first because I like to get a 20. That makes it easy. So I've got negative 3 I bring down. And then 5 times negative 4 is a negative 20. Then I have negative times a negative, so that's going to be a positive. 3 times 20 is 60. Had I done the negative 3 times 5, that would be negative 15. Negative 15 times a negative 4 is also 60. I can do this one pretty easy in my head, but I might do the 2 times 2. but I'm just going to do 2 times 5 is 10. Bring down the 2. Again, I know you guys could probably do this in your head, but I want you to show your steps and get the practice in. 10 times 2 is 20. Number 6, some different options here. I'm going to go and do negative 2 times negative 5. That's a positive 10. And then bring down the negative 3 and the negative 4. Negative 3 times negative 4. I want to keep that 10 because those are easy to multiply by. That's going to give me a positive 12. 10 times 12 is 120. And that's a positive. Next, we're evaluating. Evaluate is a fancy word for find or solve. So if they ask you to evaluate something, they're asking you to solve or find something. Remember, when you have two letters next to each other, that means multiply. Letters in math are called variables. So we want to remember that. So this is saying x times y. So we substitute in, we get negative 14 times negative 7. You can look on your multiplication chart. A negative times a negative is a positive, and we will get 98 on this one. Again, letters next to variables. Sorry, I said that wrong. Letters next to letters or variables next to variables means multiplication, so I have negative 16 times negative 7. A negative times a negative is a positive, and 16 times 7 is 112. Again, you can use your multiplication chart to help you out. On your papers, this over here says xy squared z. Change it to 2 times x times y times z. And this one is fine. Would you pause the video and would you please try to do these problems on your own, and then you can come back and see if you did them correctly. All right, so first step is to plug in. So I've got 2 times negative 5 times 4 times negative 9. Again, I like to try to get tens. So I've got 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And then I have 4 and the negative 9 still. Probably the easiest thing to do here would be to leave that 10. And 4 times 9, negative 9 is negative 36. And if you multiply by tens, you're basically taking your decimal point and moving it over one spot. So we end up with a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive, 360. For the next problem, we substitute in. So we're going to put in negative 7, 15, 1, and negative 2. Honestly, I kind of feel like we can almost just get rid of that 1 because it doesn't really do anything. But if you want to, you can multiply one of those by 1. I would probably, because again, I like to try to get zeros, so I see this negative 2 and this 15, and I would keep the negative 7 and multiply those two together and get negative 30. Then I have a negative times a negative. 7 times 3 is 21, and then I've got that 0, so I get a positive 210. And that wraps it up for that part of our notes. If you have questions, you can always ask me in class. Thank you very much.